Good morning, fifth graders. Today's mini lesson is dividing unit fractions by a whole number pictorially. Let's review what a unit fraction is. A unit fraction is any fraction that has 1 as its numerator. 1/2 is a unit fraction because 1 is in the numerator. 1/3 is a unit fraction. 1/20 is a unit fraction. 1/150 is a unit fraction. All of these are unit fractions because there is a 1 in the numerator. If you have your notebooks now, please go ahead and write that definition in. Okay, now it is time for us to get to our mini lesson. What we have is a word problem here, and we are going to think about these questions while we are reading our problem. What is our whole? Estimate more or less than what the whole is. And then, of course, we have here room for our illustration, which we're going to make a pictorial. It says, Mrs. Home's class is having a party. Woo-woo! To help get ready, Annika is putting salsa into bowls. She has 1/2 of a gallon of salsa and 4 bowls. How many gallons of salsa does Annika put into each of those bowls? Okay, first thing we need to do is read it again and let's find the whole. What is it that we are working with? What do we have in our that we need to partition? Okay, so it says Mrs. Home's class is having a party. To help get ready, Annika is putting salsa into bowls. She has 1/2 of a gallon of salsa and 4 bowls. How many gallons of salsa does Annika put into each bowl? One of our context clues that we could look for is the word has. That way we know that we have that in possession and that is what we need to partition. In the second sentence, it says she has 1/2 of a gallon of salsa. This is what we should be underlining when we read a problem to help us understand what we have. The key word that helped us figure out what we have is the word has. I probably would circle that. So, how much salsa does she have? Take a second and think about that. Okay. She has a 1/2 a gallon of salsa. So now we're going to start drawing our pictorial so that we can use this to get to our solution. I am going to draw a rectangle. I'm drawing it freehand, so it's not perfect. Please go ahead and draw your rectangle. It says she has a 1/2 a gallon. This rectangle represents 1 whole gallon. That means if we use this whole thing, that we would have used 1 whole. But does she have a whole gallon? No, she does not. She has a 1/2 a gallon. So we are going to partition this into 1/2. And we are going to shade in 1/2 of our gallon. Now, we figured out what we have and now how we have to partition it. Now we look for how we need to partition it. She has a half a gallon of salsa and 4 bowls. How many gallons of salsa does Annika put into each bowl? Our question is, how many gallons of salsa does Annika put into each bowl? Each bowl. She has 4 bowls that she has to fill up. This is just a picture to show you what that means. Let's go to our next question. Let's estimate now before we solve. Is she going to have more or less than 1 whole gallon in each of these bowls? Remember, your whole is this whole rectangle. She has only half of the gallon. So is she going to put more than a gallon in each of these bowls? No. You would think that it would be less because she only has a half of a gallon to work with. So she cannot have a full gallon in each of those bowls. So if you do your solution and you do your problem and your solution is more than 1 gallon, you need to go back and rethink that. Okay? Now, here is the half a gallon. We need to partition it into fourths because it has 4 bowls. And that is what we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is how much of each of these bowls are going to get. But they want to know how much out of the whole gallon is going to be in each of these bowls. Let me repeat that question. What they are asking is how much out of the whole gallon is going to be put into each of these bowls. This is why we need to not only partition this half of the gallon, but we need to partition this half of the gallon into fourths as well, because this has to be the same as this side. Now I have my fraction of how much each of the is going to go into the bowl. Now I need to think. How many pieces are in the whole? Let me repeat that. You need to think. How many pieces are in the whole? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There was 4 here, and I had to make 4 here. So there are 8 pieces in the whole. Is that going to be your numerator or your denominator? Yes, that is going to be your denominator. Now I need to find out how much is my numerator. Well, I'm putting 1 into each of those. So it is 1 out of the whole, which is 8. So 1/8 is going into each of the bowls. My equation that I just drew is I have a half a gallon. I have a half a gallon of salsa divided into 4 bowls is going to equal 1/8. This is your solution with the equation. I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and I will see you again.